Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm playing in the Tier 9 German turreted tank destroyer. It is the Waffenträger Auf Panzer IV. Now, I haven't featured this tank on the channel in 4 years. Why is that? Well, because there's so many tanks in the game. I think I've got 500 vehicles in my garage now, and even if I was to feature every single tank, one day of the year, it would still take me a year and a half before I could get back into rotation, right? Now, the WT Auf Panzer IV, just because I haven't been playing it recently, doesn't mean that it's not a great vehicle. And recently, well, just on Sunday, when I was doing my tech tree showcase of the entirety of the German turreted tank destroyer line, I had my one game in this tank that I probably play in every year. It's just one of those tanks that not a lot of you seem to vote for on the poll website, and it only comes up when I do a tech tree showcase. And when I'm defending in the, I guess, not the worst possible matchmaking, because I could all be tier 9 and tier 10, but, you know, against some tier 10 tanks on Karelia Assault, yeah, I feel like I've got a chance. One of the reasons why I loved this vehicle when I first played it is because it just doesn't really matter what you're shooting at when you have 276mm of penetration on your standard rounds, and if you damn that Tukey, you have 352mm of APCR penetration. You can go through anything frontally. Now, back in the day when this vehicle first came out 4 years ago, the game was in a very different situation. And also, I believe this tank was slightly too good. I think they nerfed the rate of fire of it, but I might be thinking about the tier 8. I definitely know that they nerfed the rate of fire in a lot of things about the tier 8 tank, the Borsig. I think also that the tier 9 was a little bit too good. And when this vehicle used to lead on to the Waffenträger Auf E100, wow, a lot of people were playing this vehicle rigorously. And I think back in the day, it used to be a lot easier to camp in World of Tanks. Quite a few of the maps, especially the Assault variant, like Sand River Assault, they used to be this, if you imagine that I'm drawing on the map here, they used to be just a gigantic hill that you could sit on top of, and whenever they would try and crest the ridge on the middle of the map, they'd just be absolutely slaughtered. Wargaming have fixed a lot of the best camping positions in the game, for better or for worse. Now, I think definitely for better, because there were just some game-winning positions and people would always camp there and just do way above the amount of damage that they should be doing if it wasn't an overpowered position. But obviously it made playing sneaky tank destroyers like this a little bit harder. And furthermore, the Swedish tank destroyers are here now, and they're really sneaky, and they don't have quite as big caliber guns, so they don't lose as much camo rating when they fire, and so a lot of people have been grinding towards the Stridsvagn 103B instead of this. And of course, now that the Gorilla has been nerfed substantially, just not a lot of people are bothering with this line, but it's still awesome. I mean, I had probably one of my best tech tree showcases, I think, ever, and a massive thank you to the 7,000 concurrent viewers that were tuned into it on Twitch TV on Sunday. It was an absolute pleasure. And it was just awesome that I could have quite a few ace tankers along the way. Oh, the spoilers, this is going to be an ace tanker where you're just going to have to wait and see, possibly, maybe. Now, one of the most important things that you can do when you're playing these, I'm not quite used to the shell velocity there. The shell velocity on this tank, on the standard rounds, is 1,200 meters a second. And so I'd been playing the Borsig and all of the previous tank destroyers, and I think I only had those have got about 800 to 900 meters a second shell velocity, and so I was having to give very much more lead. But when you've got 1,200 meters, you barely have to give lead, even at long ranges, with the standard rounds on this tank. But one of the most important things that you will have to develop if you want to be successful in your German lightly armored turreted tank destroyers is to actually use the mobility of the vehicle. Unlike something like a Jagdtiger, where you really feel that you want to just go to a front and keep your frontal armor towards your opponents, these tanks can actually be quite good at relocating. And so I saw that over on the western flank, the Panzer 7 on the enemy team, the Panzerkampfwagen 7, very close, German, English, similar. Anyway, I digress. I just thought that there was going to be nothing over on that flank. What I wanted to do instead is to advance over towards the northeast, and I'm quite happy that I did, because I managed to pick up some nice shots and take out a tier 10 medium tank on the enemy team. But something happened that I didn't expect, and that is that a WZ-132 managed to sneak, I guess, in here without getting spotted by the Jagdpanzer, the Pershing, or in fact the Bat Chatillon 25T. And so that was actually the first real big misplay of this game. I could have got caught out, and if the Object 268 version 4 or the T-44 or the Progetto had better marksmanship, I could have been completely out of this, because of course these tanks are lightly armored while they do have great damage per minute, 0.33 accuracy, 2.1 seconds aim time, and monstrous damage per minute of 2,896 with 560 alpha. When they do get caught out, they've got pretty much no armor whatsoever. Especially the gun shield on this tank is absolutely useless, and you've got the hull armor of a Panzer IV, which, yeah, it's not really going to hold up at tier 9, especially when you're dealing with tier 10 tanks. But just all the good things about this vehicle of having the turret. Now, one thing you might be quite surprised about is, why am I constantly driving this tank backwards? Well, that's actually because this vehicle has more gun depression over the rear of the tank than it does have over the front. So if I just show you here on Tanks GG, if I go to the model, look at this. 2 degrees of gun depression over the front of the tank, but 5 degrees of gun depression all over the back part of the vehicle. So that's why I'm constantly driving this thing backwards, and recommend that you do so as well when you get used to the vehicle. Now, this game is actually pretty close right now. They've got, you know, the completely balanced Object 268 version 4 on the enemy team, who hasn't been spotted, so he's likely to have all of his hit points. And there you go, he just strikes the Type 61, securing his second kill of the game. So what am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking I need to be a mid-range tank destroyer, but I also want to try and extend my view range with my binoculars, and my camo net should allow me to get off the first shot without being spotted. Now this Panzer IV on the enemy, Panzer 7, I'm the Panzer IV. This Panzerkampfwagen 7 on the enemy team has been absolutely murdering my premium rounds that I've been firing at his lower plate, but finally one manages to go in. Now, I have to admit, I did fire quite a few premium rounds to be able to take that vehicle out, so do take that into consideration when I was saying that, yeah, you've got really good penetration on this tank. It's still great, the Jagdtiger's phenomenal, but, you know, when you have to go through the front of a tier 10 heavy tank, and I don't really have too many problems with doing that in a vehicle like this, then a quick dab of the 2 key can help out, whether you agree with that or not. One thing that's very important that a lot of people who are constantly talking about either gold rounds, and I still call them gold rounds because frankly you have to spend gold to be able to get a premium account or get tier 8 premiums to be able to afford to fire them consistently. There's no doubt this game is slightly pay to win, maybe like 10-20% pay to win. Oh gosh, I'm probably going to have a comment section just exploded now. But one of the most important things that not a lot of people realize or don't take into account is that if you're bouncing your standard rounds, you're kind of wasting 1,200 credits anyway. 1,260 credits to be exact in this vehicle if you bounce an armor-piercing round. Oh, yes. That's where this turret comes in handy. You can come around the corner, quickly get an ambush shot off into an Object 268 version 4 side. And am I going to run away from him right now? Yes, I am, because I don't want that E75 to be able to plant one into me. Now I take my first hit of the game from the IS-3. And this game, it's starting to get a bit nerve-wracking right now. There are 3 tanks left on the enemy team, and we've got the Pershing and an SD-1 trying to flank. I'm very cautious about that Object 268 version 4 coming at me. Now, of course, at this moment I was thinking, perhaps I should run away, because if I run away and they don't manage to kill all of us, then we win by default because we're defending against an assault. But I thought that if I run away, maybe I'll get caught by one of the heavies. Also, I kind of want to be in a position where I can support the Pershing, and now that I know that the Object 268 version 4 has committed to the other flank, I can get into position, and hopefully I'm going to slam one into the side of the tank. Now, I'm reversing backwards here, waiting for the opportunity. That should go in, because I'm shooting right down onto his roof deck. If that one bounced, that would have been miraculous. And look at this Pershing, he's messing around with the 268 version 4. Maybe I'm going to be able to penetrate the side of the tank. There you go. But oh, a low roll. The most overpowered tank probably in the history of World of Tanks right now just manages to survive with the skin of his teeth. Now on 21 hit points, I'm loading high explosive rounds to finish him off. Yeah, for not quite. 7 high explosive damage done to that vehicle. How simply outrageous. Okay, let's see if I can get the extra one in. There you go. The Object 268 version 4 breaks my gun. I'm going to put that back into effect, and we managed to take him down with the high explosive round to the top of the vehicle. And now an E75 is going to try and smash us, get on top of us, but no. We managed to go right through his lower plate, securing our 7th kill of the game. Oh, that was a fun moment. I was very worried that I was about to get absolutely smushed. Look at the Pershing. The Pershing's telling the E100 to run. You know what? Sometimes you just got to hold your ground and shoot what's in front of you. And there you go. 8th kill, securing the frag on the IS-3 on the enemy team. And wow, a pretty nice result for a vehicle that not a lot of people give a look at. So an ace tanker here for the sneaky German tank destroyer. Radley Walters medal for securing that 8th kill, killing over half of the enemy team. A high caliber as well. And we did manage to basically break even when you take into account the consumables that I used. But as this game was on a knife edge, I think one bounce probably would have cost us the game, especially when you've got something like an E75 bearing down upon your very lightly armored German tank destroyer. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV, one of my favorite tank destroyers at tier 9, just because it's so flexible. And I hope all of you enjoyed this dose of sneaky German tank destroyer gameplay. If you did, please consider giving the video a like, but if you hated it, make sure you give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments, what are your most favorite sneaky tanks in the game? For me personally, it's probably got to be the UDES. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.